This is great. Much rather talk to people.
Oh shit, okay, cute. Alright, well I've got to do that first. Take that off. Thank you so much for meeting with us. You're talking to FBI Radio. I'm Jenny. I also got to ask, because you obviously spent like a couple of days with Chopper Read when you're doing Chopper back in the day. Did you spend any time with like an AFP agent raiding like the ABC or something?
No, I did a little bit of research, but luckily for me, so much of Aaron's job here was away from work. Like the minute we decided, no, he's not in a cop car, he's in his own car because he's going to a funeral, then he gets sort of sucked into this thing. So whilst there is a little bit of procedural stuff, it wasn't heavy, as much research as I would normally have to do for some of my roles in that respect.
You didn't have to go deep into like the AFP mentality.
No.
Yeah, after the bushfires last year, watching like an AFP agent like smother a fire and be kind of the hero of Australia when it's been such a complicated discourse around like the police and their role in Australia and like abolition movements this year it
is interesting, the whole policing. The thing that hit me about the policing thing was the local cop in the town played by Keir O'Donnell. That role of like a young man because I think a lot of people take on those jobs maybe idealistically, and we talked a lot about PTSD and what he was going through because he was the first responder and he discovered these bodies and the reality of that.
Especially in a town where they just know everyone.
Yeah.
It's not like in a city, where you're sort of faceless, aren't you?
That's right. Yeah. And it's the complex moral, ethical thing. It's the human side of it, whether you can survive that kind of culture or not.
Or just drop out and become a restaurateur. This is a punishing film at the end of like a punishing year. Was that something that you wanted to make? What are people saying to you after watching the film?
Really interesting question, because the context of releasing a film Jan 1 after a year like this is pretty amazing. Like to have an Australian film start next year, a big Australian film like this. There's big challenging themes in it, but it's kind of like about us really as a country, as a nation. It's all Australian cast, like Australian locations. I kind of feel that the planets have aligned for us really to have a chance to release it on that date.
I mean, thank God for La Nina. Like, it's not going to be the dry this year.
And we were lucky. Like, we filmed beginning of 2019.
Yeah.
And the drought was pretty much at its peak, particularly in that region, and then we sort of followed the rain patterns after we left and saw they got some really good rain that winter. We kind of got lucky in that respect for sure.
Yeah, you weren't going to get like Mad Max and have to shoot in Africa or something.
But look, the community we filmed in were incredible out there too.
But how are they receiving it? Were they excited to be represented in such a dark way?
It was pretty...
they were pretty excited. That poster, that main street is literally nothing going on there. And I remember filming, and there was one of our cars were parked across the driveway, and I said to one of the locals, "I'm sorry, I'm sure someone's going to move that." And then she says, "Oh, don't worry, love. It's just so nice to see cars on the street."
Oh my God.
So this is a place that was having its water trucked in, its drinking water.
What are your hopes for Australian cinema coming out of COVID? What do you see as the major shift that's going to happen?
Well, I mean, we feel a fair bit of responsibility, I think, because we're like, it's like the beginning of the new year, January 1, the big Australian film. We feel really confident in the film. We're excited for that opportunity. It's Rob and I have been working in the industry for a long time, and this is a very rare opportunity that, a big Australian film gets released into a marketplace that's normally drowning in Hollywood blockbusters that time of year, and we've got an amazing opportunity. Hopefully that sets up what 2021 could be. There's an amazing runway of Australian content that's coming out, and we just hope. I personally think we're in for a pretty amazing 2021 in terms of Australian cinema and box office. And I hope it, recalibrates some of the thinking that's going on around how things are structured here.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah,
okay.
Optimistic.
Yeah. Okay.
Terrified as well.
Visceral. Okay, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thanks very
nice
much.
to meet you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having us.